Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still chopping around in this sideways price range, Ethereum, on the other hand, has just broken below this important line of support, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now, technically, the price of Bitcoin is still within this larger multi-month long bullish trend, as I've been saying almost every day since the beginning of this year. And once again, this giant cup and handle pattern has technically completed the formation phase, but as of right now, it is not yet confirmed because we still need to see that confirmed weekly candle close well above 31K in order to actually confirm a breakout and confirm this pattern. So essentially over the last 1 day, not much has changed on the 4-day time frame. And if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, something similar can be said here as well, because as of right now, this bearish divergence is still currently playing out in the short term, which once again means we have a reduced bullish momentum in the short term. So we should not really be expecting a massive move to the upside. And instead, like I've said over the last 1 week, we're likely going to see either some choppy sideways price action or potentially a slight pullback, which is exactly what we've seen over the last 1 week as expected. And now, if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin MACD, this is still currently looking more bearish than bullish. But with that being said, it is still showing somewhat limited momentum in the short term. So once again, as I've said over the last few days, it's unlikely we're going to see a significant movement to either direction. And instead, we're likely going to see relatively mild price action in the short term, nothing too significant, which once again has been playing out as expected. And now, if you're zooming into the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, the price of Bitcoin is still currently within this potential bullish flag pattern, but it is important to understand that as with any pattern, this pattern only confirms if we see a confirmation signal. For example, with this pattern, we would need to see a confirmed breakout above this resistance, which as of right now has not yet happened. And in fact, if we see a confirmed break below this support with, for example, 8-hour candle closes or ideally a daily candle close well below this support, that would actually invalidate the formation phase for this potential bullish flag pattern. And in case you're wondering, this line of support is sitting at approximately 29.8K to 29.9K. And once again, as I've mentioned recently on the channel, if we actually see a confirmed break to the downside below this support, not only would we be invalidating the formation phase for this bullish flag pattern, we would also potentially be activating a new bearish flag pattern here on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart. And as of right now, the support line for this bearish flag pattern is still sitting at around 29.7K, and the resistance line for this pattern is sitting at around 30.4K, which means if we actually saw a breakout back above 30.4K, then that would actually invalidate the formation phase for this potential bearish flag pattern. But in that case, we would still be within this larger sideways price range here on the 8-hour time frame. And now, if we do end up seeing a break to the downside below support and activate this bearish flag pattern on the 2-hour chart, then in that case, that would set up a technical price target at approximately 28,500, which would be around a 4% move to the downside if we confirm a break below this line of support. But once again, at least for now, while the price of Bitcoin is still holding above this line of support, we're still looking relatively neutral in the imminent short term and just waiting for a new confirmation signal in order to confirm the next price target. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and over the last 1 day, we have now seen a daily candle close below around 1890, which was where this ascending line of support was coming into play. And so technically speaking, the next important support to pay attention to on the daily time frame is this price range in between around 1770 to 1820. And now, if you're looking at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, as of right now, these are still looking relatively neutral because, first of all, the RSI is still basically chopping around sideways, while the MACD is also doing something similar, showing very low momentum, at least least in the short term. So once again, as I've said over the last few days, and as I just said earlier in the video for Bitcoin, it's unlikely we're going to see a significant movement on the chart, at least in the shorter term, because at least for now, we're simply lacking the momentum for a significant movement. But it's possible that could change in around 3 days from now, because in around 3 days from now, we do have a new FOMC meeting, also known as a Fed meeting. And as always, I will be covering that as we get closer to that date in around 3 days. But anyway, if you're zooming into the 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart, as of right now, once again, the price of ETH has broken below this ascending line of support, which was sitting at around 1890. And so technically speaking, this previous support at around 1890 should now act as a new resistance in case we actually see a bounce back to the upside. Expect some resistance around that area. And now, obviously, any time where the price breaks below support, that's obviously a bearish signal, at least in the shorter term. But obviously, this movement was not too surprising because, as I've said over the last 2 days, I was talking about a potential break to the downside coming soon below this ascending line of support. And in that case, looking at the next levels of support here on the 8-hour time frame as well, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool from this swing low to this swing high. First of all, we have the 38.2% Fibonacci level of support sitting at around 1870, where the price is currently finding a bit of short-term support at the time of recording this video. But if we see a further break to the downside well below 1870, then in that case, the next level of support is this 50% retracement level sitting at around 1820 to 1830. And below that, we have the important golden pocket area of support in between around 1760 to 1770 approximately. And so overall, as of right now, for the price of ETH, at least in the shorter term, we're currently looking more bearish than bullish. But with that being said, like I said earlier, once again, in the short term, we have somewhat limited momentum, which means I would not necessarily expect a massive crash straight to the downsides. And instead, we're likely going to see relatively mild price action, which means either a slight pullback, kind of like what we've seen over the last 1 day, or possibly even some choppy sideways price action in the meantime, just in the short term here. But once again, in around 3 days from now, that could change with the upcoming Fed meeting, which I'll talk more about in a few days from now. So definitely subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on that. And now, if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit in a choppy sideways price range. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.